Hello and welcome to the running channel. I'm Anna and today it's the next episode in our Running With series. Now, if you're new around here, we do upload new videos every week all about running, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon as well to make sure you get notified when we do. So anyway, it's our Running With episode and today we are going to go and run with a fellow YouTuber. Now, CapgunTom is pretty famous in the YouTube world for playing FIFA and giving tips and tricks on how to play the video game to all of his subscribers, but he has just signed up for his first marathon, so he's got loads of questions he wants to ask me. I've got loads of questions I want to ask him about his training, so I'm just off to go meet him for a bit of a run and a chat. Welcome to the running channel. I'm joined today by CapgunTom.
Hey everyone.
Thanks so much for coming down to join us
No
today.
worries.
So for people who don't know you, what do you do?
Okay, so I'm effectively a YouTuber, although we're kind of getting called influencers nowadays. But I make FIFA videos, just started when I was a lot younger, just sort of putting up tips and tricks and stuff. And then before I knew it, I ended up making a full career out of it. So yeah, that's where we're at now.
So for people who don't understand sort of what that involves, what's a day look like for you?
Get up, I try and keep a good schedule because there's a lot of YouTubers that will get up at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, stuff like that. I try and keep a nice regular schedule, so I'll be up at like 10. I'll do like 6-7 hours streaming on Twitch, and then I'll edit whatever content I've made that day, and then upload it for the evening video usually.
Amazing. So the reason why we've got you on the running channel, it's not to necessarily talk about YouTube, but because you are dabbling in running. So you're going to run your first marathon at London 2019.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. I'm not really sure how it happened. It was a little bit of a weird story. So I'm getting married this year, and obviously first thing you think about when you get married, well, for most people, is to try and get in shape in some way, shape or form. So went out, had all my ushers on this night out, and I was like, what are we going to do to get in shape? Drunkenly suggested that we do a triathlon. So next morning, they're all like, it'll never happen. I'm already there, making the group, like, we're doing the triathlon. They're all like, oh no, that's when the training began. Started doing a bit of running, because I've always had, not that I've been a runner for a long time, but sort of like it's one of the easiest disciplines that I would have been able to get into over the cycling and the swimming. So I think I started back in sort of maybe like September time. Before I knew it, I was running like maybe 10, 15k, and I was like, well, never going to be in this sort of shape again, might as well try and get as many things off the bucket list as possible, and one of those things is the marathon. So I put the feelers out, and they were, I spoke to this guy that I know, and he was like, oh yeah, we're looking for influencers to do the marathon. And so out of nowhere, it was like space for about 5 days. Turned out I was doing the marathon, and now I'm in a situation where I'm like, okay, I'm doing the marathon, now what? Past just doing a lot of running, I'm just like, I don't actually know really what I'm doing, which is kind of good reason why I'm here, because you can answer as many questions as I've got about it.
On your social channels, you've not like shouted loads about your marathon, but you've mentioned it a couple of times. Like, what do your followers make of it? Like,
yeah, it's actually surprising because my demographic is maybe 12 to 21-year-old lads mainly.
Yeah.
And you know, they can be a bit, let's say, harsh at times. You know, because it's all about the banter and making a name for yourself and being a lad, whatever. But actually, when it comes to the marathon stuff, there's been so much support that's come through whenever I've posted something up. It's actually really nice to see. It's a really good positive sort of outcome from it.
Yeah. And do you feel like you're almost inspiring those people who watch you as well? Because, you know, they must look at you and think, oh, well, if he can run a marathon, maybe I'll try and run a marathon, and getting kids out and active. Yeah,
well, at first I thought that wasn't going to be the case. I just thought, you know what, they'll see that I'm doing it, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's good for him, but not for me. But actually, there are a couple of people that have actually taken up doing park runs, etc., and are now trying to get better and better times so that they can then compete with me on a weekly basis. So yeah, it's actually really, really good to say. I was kind of surprised when that sort of started happening. But the longer I've been going on, the more I talk about it, the more people have started doing it. So yeah, good outcome from it.
So with it being your first marathon,
Yes.
You've probably got a few questions that you're unsure about, that kind of thing. So is there anything that you want to ask me?
Yeah, I mean, the first one, how should you set up your goals to be able to sort of like achieve but not also disappoint yourself halfway through?
So that's a really great question, because going into a marathon's totally unknown.
Yep.
So for me, when I first did my marathon, my goal was to finish it.
Okay.
Which I think a lot of people do, especially if you're new to running and you've not done it before.
Yep.
But as my training progressed, I kind of got more of an idea of what I was capable of over certain distances.
Okay.
So your goals can change and they can adapt with how well you're doing or any setbacks you might come up against. But my main piece of advice that I got from someone going into my first was set more than one goal.
Okay.
So almost have an A, B and a C that you would be happy with.
Okay.
So the A goal was finish.
Yeah.
The B goal was finish in a certain time, and the C goal was finish in like a faster time than that.
Okay.
So setting those 3 goals that you would be happy with the outcome of any of them means you're less likely to be disappointed. But again, they can change and they can be adapted to what you're doing.
Fueling. I've heard a lot of stories about fueling, what you should do, how you should eat the night before. Is it a case of eating tons and tons of pasta, as everyone says, and then eating some raw eggs in the morning with a bowl of porridge? Or is there actually better strategies than just eating a whole load of carbohydrates?
So the key word there you picked up on is strategy.
Yep.
And working it out what's best for you.
Okay.
We've got a video on marathon fueling strategies, which you should check out. But
Yes.
the main takeaways from it is don't do anything new on race day or the day before.
Okay.
If you eat something the night before that you've not practiced eating the night before a long run, your stomach's not going to thank you for it on the day. So it's not a case of having this big mound of pasta and potatoes and chip butties and stuff to get your carbohydrates up. Your body can only hold a certain amount of glycogen, which is what it turns the carbohydrates into.
Yes.
So once you hit that limit, you're not going to get any more inside you anyway.
So moving on from the sort of like food and what to eat the night before,
Yeah.
what are the definite don'ts when it comes to eating on the day? Because I know everyone talks about the gels, eating bananas, eating sweets, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What would you recommend not doing?
So as we mentioned, your body can only hold a certain amount of glycogen in its stores. So you've probably got about an hour's worth of energy in your system, depending on your pace.
Yep.
But roughly speaking, it's about an hour.
Okay.
After that, you need to top up your reserves because they're completely depleted. So the best thing to do, again, is practicing your training. So when you start going on your really long runs, think about trying out gels,
Okay.
trying out your fueling strategy. And also you might have heard about the wall
Yes.
and bonking and hitting the wall. That's when you run out of energy and your legs just go to lead. And no matter how you try and push yourself forward, you just can't go.
Okay.
That's because you've run out of glycogen.
Right.
Glycogen is the carbohydrates are in the gel.
Okay.
So, quick science lesson for you there. So what you need to make sure you're doing is topping up those stores before they run out.
In terms of getting ready for the marathon, obviously it's completely different from your quiet run where you're just running through, down the canals of London, whatever. There's going to be hundreds and hundreds of people. Is there any benefit to going and doing another event, maybe half marathon or something like that, beforehand?
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many benefits to trying out a race day if you're completely new to running and you've never really raced. Park runs are really good indicator of it because you're around a lot of people, but the thing is that the things that you get to experience from doing a different race like a half marathon is how do you find the portaloos? How do you find the bag drop area? How do you find your starting pen? How do you put the timing chip on your trainers? All these little things that you don't really get told, but it's useful to practice.
Yes.
And setting off with people as well. A lot of people make the mistake, because they've tapered, because their legs feel great, they'll get there and their legs are like twitching, ready to go. And as soon as their soon as you cross the start line, you're off.
Yep.
And you check your watch, and you've just done a minute per mile quicker than you're supposed to.
Yep.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Okay.
Because that is a recipe for disaster. So it's really easy to get carried away with the crowds and try and keep up with the person next to you.
Yep.
But you don't know what their goal is.
It is, yeah.
You don't know what their race strategy is. They might go hard and then completely crash and burn. So sticking with your own plan, you can practice that by doing a different race in the build-up.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely a good idea.
Is there any other, you've already mentioned sort of like the Portaloos and the chipping, is there any other things that you would not know unless you'd actually been on that marathon start line and done it? Is there anything you can think of?
Right, 3 things. 1, you need to go and pick up your race number from the expo beforehand. Now, at London that opens, I think, the Wednesday.
Yep.
So you've got a few days in advance to go and do that.
Mm-hmm.
Do not leave it till the Saturday, because there are so many people flying in from all around the world who won't get to London till the Saturday. You're here, go and get it done.
Yeah.
So yeah, go to the expo as early as possible. Maybe leave the credit card at home as well, because you'll be tempted to buy everything.
Yeah.
And if you do buy something, don't wear it on race day, because you haven't practiced in it.
Yes.
So there's the expo. Don't rely on your GPS watch too much.
Okay.
So you mentioned that you do quite a lot of maths and you like sort of working out numbers and things. When you are out on that course, you will lose signal 100% around Canary Wharf.
Okay.
And your watch and your pace will go crazy, and you probably won't have a good indicator of where you're actually at. Similarly to that, you'll probably end up running more than 26.2 miles because of weaving in and out.
Right.
You will notice on the floor when you're running a blue line. That blue line is the racing line that the elites use to follow the course exactly marked to 26.2 miles. By the time you get over that start line, you won't be able to follow that blue line the whole way. So be prepared that actually by the time you finish, you'll probably have done 26.6 or something like that.
You won't even know that by then, like the half a mile's not going to make heads or tails.
No. But it will have an impact on your time if you're sticking to an exact pace over 26.2. So give yourself a bit of leeway if you're really going for a time.
Okay.
And then the start line itself, don't expect, if the race starts at 10:15, don't expect that you'll be over that start line at 10:15.
Right.
So if you're arranging to meet some friends and family at the end, factor in a little bit of extra time as well as your run for getting over the start line, and also just the walk down the mall to go and pick your bag back up.
Yeah.
It's an interesting walk, but there are a lot of people who you just get this like, no one's got the energy to do anything more than just a well done. So
just existing.
Exactly. Just like, need some water. Think I need some food. I don't know if I'm okay. So yeah, the finish area is brilliant, and there's so much camaraderie for everyone just feeling that sense of achievement. It's amazing, so soak it up.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think they're my main 3 things that you probably wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's really useful for someone who's going in with no idea what's going to happen.
Well, thank you so much for coming out for a run with us today.
Oh,
I know you're a very busy guy. We'll be following your training.
Okay.
If you need any more tips, don't forget to watch our videos.
No, I won't.
And yeah, we'll see you next time on the running channel.
Bye.